Oh my gosh, I really like Demetrius. But he likes you, which is so unfair because you don't even try and you don't even like him. Ugh.
I can't help it. I like Lysander, like, like a lot, and he likes me. But my dad wants me to be with Demetrius, which is so unfair.
Whoa, she's hot.
Yeah, man, I agree. And she likes me.
Lysander, her dad likes me.
Demetrius, if he likes you so much, why don't you go marry him?
'Cause he's not hot. He's like a dad.
You know who else is a dad?
William Shakespeare.
Shakespeare was born on April 23rd in 1564. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, Warwickshire, England. Growing up, Shakespeare was the oldest surviving child of his family and had three younger brothers and two younger sisters. He attended school until the age of around 13, and several years later, at the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway in a ceremony thought to have been hastily arranged due to her pregnancy. Several years after having twins, Shakespeare spent over 2 decades working in London theatre as an actor, playwright, and helped lead the Lord Chamberlain's Men.
Throughout his lifetime, he wrote about 37 plays and 154 sonnets, and he has had more theatrical works performed than any other playwright. Around the beginning of the 1600s, he penned the most famous of his 37 plays, including Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, and The Tempest. He is known as a dramatist for his use of the iambic pentameter, meditative soliloquies, and ingenious wordplay.
His first plays were believed to have been written around 1592. They encompass the three main dramatic genres tragedy, comedy, and history. It is said that Shakespeare's first play was Henry VI, Part 1. In around 1594 to 1595, Shakespeare wrote one of his most famous tragedies, Romeo and Juliet. Around this same time, he wrote the festive comedy, A Midsummer Night's Dream.
It is believed to have been written in 1595 and was one of his earlier works. Some scholars believe that he took inspiration for the plot from Ovid's Metamorphoses and in Chaucer's The Knight's Tale of the Canterbury Tales. There are also similarities in his use of a donkey's head in Alpulicia's The Golden Ass, as well as the fairies in Edmund Spenser's poem The Fairy Queen. The King Oberon in Shakespeare's play is also seen in the Book of Duke Huon of Bordeaux, and the Fairy Queen Titania is also seen in Metamorphoses.
A Midsummer Night's Dream was first published and performed in 1600. Some scholars say that it was written to be performed as an aristocratic wedding celebration, but definite evidence isn't available. The wedding celebration in the beginning of the play, as well as the love plot, do support this theory, however. The play takes place in Athens, Greece, and revolves primarily around the romantic confusion of four lovers and the interference of King Oberon and the Fairy Queen Titania.
Hermia is the daughter of Egeus, who wants her to marry Demetrius. Hermia loves Lysander and wants to marry him instead. She plans on disobeying her father to run away with Lysander. Hermia represents throughout the play what people are willing to do for love.
Helena initially loves Demetrius, who loves Hermia instead. She starts out with no one loving her, to both of them loving her, to finally just Demetrius. Helena's character represents insecurities in love and unrequited love.
Lysander is in love with Hermia, and he plans to run away with her. He's eventually drugged into loving Helena instead, but is ultimately a hopeless romantic, somewhat similar to Romeo.
Demetrius is also in love with Hermia, even though she doesn't love him back. He's also drugged into loving Helena, but this doesn't go away. He is the least complex of the four main lovers in the play.
Puck is a sprite who serves King Oberon, and he is the main catalyst in the story. He is a joker who turns Bottom's head into a donkey, and he accidentally gives Lysander and Demetrius the love potion, beginning all the confusion in the play.
The play takes place in a forest just outside of Athens in ancient Greek times. The play begins with Hermia and her father, Egeus, arguing about whom she should marry. Hermia and Lysander are in love, but her father and the Duke would like her to marry Demetrius. The Duke even threatens death or to send her to a nunnery if she doesn't marry him. Demetrius loves Hermia, but she does not love him back.
Hermia and Lysander soon make plans to run away and meet in the forest to escape and elope outside of the Athenian borders. Hermia and Helena also meet up, where Helena expresses her disdain that Demetrius loves Hermia instead. Hermia confesses her and Lysander's plan to Helena, who decides to tell Demetrius in hopes of winning back his love.
A group of men rehearse a play for the Duke Theseus and Hippolyta's wedding called The Most Lamentable Comedy and the Most Cruel Death of Pyramus and Thisbe. After a lot of arguing, the group leaves and agree to meet in the woods the next day to rehearse.
King Oberon and Queen Titania are fighting. She has an Indian boy as a servant and won't give him up to be a knight for the king. In his anger, Oberon tells his trickster servant, Puck, to find a flower called Love in Idleness. It was struck with a bow from Cupid, and if put on someone's eye while they're asleep, it will make them fall in love with the person they see when they awake. Oberon hopes that Puck will use it on Titania to make her fall in love with a strange creature, and will hold it against her until she gives him the Indian boy.
Demetrius and Helena are passing through the forest, and he is rebuking her for following him, telling her how much he doesn't love her. Oberon makes himself invisible and watches them argue, saying how he thinks that by the end of the night, Demetrius will love her.
Puck returns from looking for the flower, and Oberon says he himself will put it on Titania's eyelids. He then orders Puck to put the potion on the young man, Demetrius, he just saw as well.
Lysander and Hermia enter and find a place to sleep in the forest for the night. They sleep apart, and Puck mistakes Lysander for Demetrius. He puts the potion on Lysander's eyelids. Helena continues to pursue Demetrius, and he storms away. She then notices Lysander and wakes him up. Lysander instantly falls in love with her. He tells her that he loves her, and she believes that he is making fun of her. She storms off, and then he follows. Hermia soon wakes up and notices that Lysander is gone. Hermia then goes further into the woods to find them.
The men meet in the forest to rehearse for the play. Oberon's servant, Puck, enters and turns one of the men's head, named Bottom, into the head of a donkey. Bottom runs off, and they all freak out in chaos. Nearby, Titania awakes from her sleep with the potion and sees Bottom. She instantly falls in love with him and his head of a donkey. Bottom is unaware of this change, and Titania enlists her fairies to grant him any wish he has.
Hermia comes upon Demetrius after looking for Lysander. Puck notices that she still isn't in the man he enchanted before, as does Oberon. Oberon says that Puck will make him fix his mistake. Hermia asks Demetrius about where Lysander has gone, and he becomes angry that she loves Lysander more. He stops following her and goes to sleep. Hermia once again continues into the forest.
Oberon puts the flower juice on Demetrius' eyes as Puck goes to find Helena. Helena and Lysander then enter, and she believes he's making fun of her. This wakes up Demetrius, who sees her and instantly falls in love with her too. They both begin to declare their love for Helena, angering her even more.
I have no more strength than her weak prayers. Helen, I love thee. By my life I do. I swear by that which I lose for thee, to prove him false that says I love thee not.
Say I love thee more than he can do.
If thou say so, withdraw and prove it too.
Quick, come.
Lysander, where 2 10s all this?
Away, you Ethiop.
No, he'll seem to break loose. Take on as you would follow, but yet come not. You are a tame man. Go.
Off, thou cat, thou bird, vile thing, let loose, or I will shake thee from me like a serpent.
Why are you grown so rude? What change is this, sweet love?
Thy love? Out, towny Tartar, out, out, loathed medicine, O hated potion, hence.
Do you not jest?
Demetrius, I will keep my word with thee.
I would I had your bond, for I perceive a weak bond holds you. I'll not trust your word.
What? Should I hurt her, strike her, kill her dead? Although I hate her, I'll not harm her so.
What, can you do me greater harm than hate? Hate me wherefore, oh me, what new is my love? Am I not Hermia, are you not Lysander? I am as fair now as I was erewhile. Since night you loved me, and yet since night you left me. Why, you left me, oh the gods forbid, in earnest shall I say.
Yea, by my life, and never did desire to see thee more. Therefore be out of hope, of question, of doubt. Be certain, nothing truer, 'tis no jest, that I do hate thee and love Helena. Be not afraid, she shall not harm thee, Helena.
No, sir, she shall not. Thou you take her part.
Oh, when she is angry, she is keen and shrewd. She was a vixen when she went to school. Oh, though she be but little, she is fierce.
But low and little, why will you suffer her to flout me thus? Let me come to her.
Get you gone, you dwarf, you minimus of hindering knot-grass maid, you bead, you acorn.
You're too facetious. In her behalf that scorns your services, let her alone, speak not of Helena. Take not her part, for if thou dost intend never so little show of love to her, thou shalt abide it.
Now she holds me not. Now follow, if thou darst, to try who's right. of thine or mine is most in Helena.
Follow, nay, I'll go with thee. Check by jowl.
Oh, me, you juggler, you canker blossom, you thief of love. What have you come by night and stole my love's heart from him?
Fine, in faith, have you no modesty, no maiden shame, no touch of bashfulness? What will you tear impatient answers from my gentle tongue? Fie, you counterfeit, you puppet, you!
Puppet, why so? I that goes the game. Now I perceive that she hath made compare between our statues. She hath urged her height, and with her personage, her tall personage, her height forsooth, she hath prevailed him. And are you so grown so high in his esteem because I'm so low? How low am I, thou painted maypole? Speak. How low am I? I am not yet so low, but that my nails can reach into thine eyes.
I pray you, though the gentleman mock me, let her not hurt me. I was never cursed. I have no gift at all in shrewishness. I am a right mate for my cowardice. Let her not strike me. You perhaps may think because she is something lower than myself that she can match me.
Lower, hark again.
Good Hermia, don't be so bitter with me. I evermore did love you, Hermia. Did you ever keep your counsels? Never wronged you? Save that, in love with Demetrius, I told him of your stealth unto this wood. He followed you, for loved. I followed him, but he hath chid me hence and threatened me, to strike me, spurn me, nay, to kill me too. And now you will let me quiet go. To Athens will I hear my folly back, and follow you no further. Let me go. You see how simple and how fond I am?
Why, get you gone. Who is it that hinders you?
A foolish heart that I leave here.
What, with Lysander?
With Demetrius.
The lovers wander their separate ways, and Puck puts the potion on Lysander's eyes, hoping everything will be better in the morning.
Titania falls asleep holding Bottom with his donkey head. Oberon reveals that his plan worked, and she agreed to give him the Indian boy in return of the spell being reversed. He puts the potion on her eyelids, and she wakes up astonished that she is with the donkey-headed boy. They rejoin happily, and Puck restores Bottom to his original self. The lovers wake up and can't remember the previous night. Demetrius and Helena remain in love, and Lysander and Hermia are now in love. They all leave to join the wedding feast.
Bottom comes across his fellow men just in time to perform their play for the Duke, Theseus, and Hippolyta.
The men perform their play for the lovers and the Duke and his wife. Puck enters afterwards, and Oberon and Titania have the fairies bless the palace. They state that they hope the lovers will stay true to each other. Puck addresses the audience then, saying that if it's offensive, they should just regard it as a dream.
The scene that we performed is the main point of confusion in the play. It's the peak moment before everything calms down and resolves. This scene shows how easily love is altered, being Shakespeare's way of making fun of how easily people fall in and out of love. The men end the scene in a brutal duel and the women run away, this being the climactic moment in the play where people are truly hurt because of love. This is the main point in the play where all hope for love seems to be lost, before Shakespeare brings it all back to somewhat normal.
Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream is an epic comedy that shows the utter confusion and desperation of love. It's one of his more well-known comedies and is often referred to as a favorite by many. Some scholars say it was his first real mature comedy, as stated in Shakespeare for Students, Critical Interpretations of Shakespeare's Plays and Poetry.
An important theme throughout this play is how the pursuit of love can be idiotic and crazy, but also worthwhile. Another theme is how people transform throughout love, and how people can change drastically. Shakespeare makes fun of love throughout the entire play, making the audience members believe that love is truly crazy. In the sense of intense love, A Midsummer Night's Dream is somewhat similar to Romeo and Juliet. The overwhelming theme of what people will do for love is evident in both. The play ends with happy marriages, similar to Shakespeare's Two Gentlemen of Verona and As You Like It. It's very unlike his tragedies, however, since there's no murder or death. The comedy revolves around the utter confusion of love. Scholars call Midsummer Night's Dream a romantic comedy, since it revolves around the amusement of love. Some scholars, such as Paul A. Olson, a professor at the University of Nebraska, point out that while the play has a happy ending, Shakespeare is indeed making fun of love. Puck represents all those who meddle in love, and Shakespeare certainly pokes at how easily love is altered. While it is a heartwarming, silly comedy, there are definitely larger statements being made. By personal opinion, the themes displayed in this play are both ridiculous and adorable. The desperation for love is sweet to an extent, and gets taken out of control in this context. Even so, the perseverance of love is very inspiring and teaches that people should never give up on who they love, even if that person doesn't love them in return. This is probably my favorite Shakespeare play that I've read. It has a magical sense to it, but it is all about love. The comedy is very in-your-face and is so silly, but somehow relatable. Everyone can find at least one character to identify with when it comes to love, whether you're the one meddling, the one madly mutually in love, or the one hoping to be loved in return.